Hey truckers, it is October and we are gonna make a apple crisp today. Apples are in season. If you want, you can go out to the different orchards around your community and pick your own. We didn't have time to do that, so we are getting ours from the grocery store. We're gonna get those peeled up here shortly, but first we're gonna make the crisp topping. And in order to do that, I have kept my butter in the refrigerator so it stays nice and cold and firm until the last second. I just brought it out. Got it nice and cubed up there. The recipe that we're using, we just got it off of Google. It's a all recipes recipe. This is equal parts of brown sugar, all-purpose flour, and rolled oats. We're gonna start off, it's 3/4 of a cup of each. This is for a single batch size recipe. We did not double it like I normally would because we don't want to have leftovers throughout the week. I'm on a diet, so this is a once in a week dessert kind of thing for us. So anyway, the recipe says to take your brown sugar and your flour and combine those together with a teaspoon of cinnamon. So this is hard to reach. Anyway. That's about a half of one, and good enough. So we're gonna get that all mixed up together evenly with a little bit of salt, it said. Almost forgot about that. We'll just do a pinch like that. Get that blended partially there. Combine our butter into there. All right. We're gonna give this little tool a try. Squish it through there. It says to get the butter into little pea-sized shapes. So I don't know if that's what you would call that or not. Another way to do it that I've learned in the past is it's almost like a flicking motion. Take your butter in between you can also put this into a food processor. That's just another item to get dirty, so trying to minimize that. So back to trying this. You know what? I think I like the flicking motion the best out of all those. So I'm gonna get all that butter off of here and set this little thing aside. It's not actually working the best. This is pretty good here, I think. It's like just a snap your fingers. Get that butter nice and broken down small. After this, we are gonna put this in the refrigerator to chill while we get our apples ready. Just about there. We're not trying to make a dough. We do want it to be separated a little bit. Okay, I think that is about what we're going for our apple crisp here. Now we need to add our oats to the topping mixture there. We don't want to press those in too much. We'll just give them a light stir like this. Get them incorporated evenly. That looks good for that. We have now got our apples prepared and ready to go. I like to add a little bit, not much, just a splash of orange juice to there, just to weten them up a little bit, not a lot. Just like that. A little dash of some cinnamon. We're gonna coat the apples with that, just about like that. Give them a toss here with the orange juice and the cinnamon. We've got this pan. I'd say it's probably about a 7 by 12 or 13 or something like that. Our oven is preheated to 350 degrees. This looks like a little bit much, but I think that the topping will fall down in between all the nooks and crannies there. Might be a little overfilled, but better overfilled than underfilled. Holy cow. All right. Well, anyway, let's see if we can bring this to the edges without it pouring over the sides. Well, it's gonna be all right, I think. Looking good. You know what? I forgot to adjust the rack in the oven. Let's move this down one into the center right there and slide it on in. I think the recipe calls for about 30 minutes. We're gonna check it after about 25. Whoop. Set the timer for 25 minutes and we'll come back and check on it. Meanwhile, we'll do some prep for the other dishes that are gonna go with our Octoberfest meal tonight. Hey truckers, we are gonna start making our potato salad that's gonna go along with our grilled bratwurst tonight for our October meal of the month. The potato salad is gonna be red skin potatoes. We're gonna caramelize these onions, and then we are gonna make a balsamic vinaigrette with basil. That's what's gonna go into it. I choose a balsamic vinaigrette for, this is traditionally a German style dish with the brats, but I'm not super fan of German food myself actually, so I'm gonna throw in the balsamic and basil. That's more my style. If you like, you can always substitute a more traditional style vinaigrette for this German style potato salad. I would suggest maybe an apple cider vinaigrette with possibly some caraway seed. Anyway, that sounds pretty good, but we're gonna do balsamic. Anyway, get started by preparing our potatoes. We're gonna do them nice little cube. Leave the skins on. About that seems like a nice size bite for a potato salad. Throw out that little piece with that big eye on it. Anyway, probably should have sliced that into 3 pieces, but that's fine, whatever. Putting these straight into the water so that they don't turn brown. It is once again on the camera. He's getting pretty good at it, I feel like. He didn't want to do this today, so I paid him to do it. Now he is a professional videographer, jack of all trades. Helped mow lawns. Many of you all met him over the summertime. Some of you all even brought him out cookies. It does not like potato salad, so we're probably going to make him some ramen or something like that to go with it. Sammy does not like potato salad either, but you know what he likes? Grilled red potatoes. So I am going to reserve some of these red skin potatoes to grill up for him. They get nice and crispy like a French fry. All right, get these on the heat here, and we'll get our onions going. There we go. All right, take a break. All right, we've got our onions all peeled and cleaned up, and we're gonna get them all sliced. I like to do maybe about a 1/2 inch slice there. I like them to still have some nice, decent body to them, not be too thin. This is gonna be a salad. If I was gonna be putting caramelized onions on a sandwich or something like that, I'd probably do them a little bit thinner. But for this purpose, I think a little bit bigger of a slice will be just fine. So, getting your eyes there, Elliot?
No.
No? Not making me want to cry a little bit, but not too bad. I guess this is the time of year where the onions are more fresh. I can remember living out in Oregon, where they grow a lot of onions in eastern Oregon. Onions, garlic, potatoes. I can remember driving around out in the high desert, getting behind a truck, triple axle truck, just like you see around here, hauling rock. We get behind one out there and it's hauling just a big old, there's our apple crisp. Give it a check. They'd be hauling big old truckloads of onions. I'll get behind one of those. That was pretty cool. Never seen that before until I moved out there. Sometimes it'd be the same thing with potatoes. Anyway, let's take a look at this apple crisp. Oh, we'll give that a little longer for sure. It's nice and thick. How about at least 10 more minutes? All right. Now, onions. We're gonna caramelize these up. We'll give a little bit of olive oil on the bottom of the pan. Not too much. We don't want them to go swimming in it, but enough to coat the bottom. Let's get on that on high heat to start, and then we're gonna turn it down. All right. I'm gonna come around this way. Push. And coming up out of the pan there, what's happening is these are caramelizing on the bottom, and they are sweating the heat out of the onions itself. And that is, some of that's going straight into the air, some of it's going back down to the pan and slightly as it goes. You can give it a little bit of a shake, and that knocks down some of that moisture to the bottom again. We're just gonna keep this process going till they're nice and sweated. Then we'll start to move them around, turn them over, and start to bring all that brown off of the bottom back up into them, and give them that caramelized look. Gonna make the vinaigrette to go with our potato salad. Our onions are still cruising right along. Just keep them agitated just like that. They're looking pretty good. Every once in a while you can take a spoon and give a little peek down in there, and you can see they're not browning yet, so we're just gonna let them keep going. Looking good. Leave this aside like that. I'm going to use the blender over here for the small food processor. I don't want to make a whole lot of dressing. We can't use it. This is probably about a quarter of a red onion. We'll put that in here and give it a little bit of a pulse. Get a little spatula out. Try to knock that back down. Looks good. All right. Our timer once again for our apple crisp. And it's still needing time. So that's a total, we did 25 minutes, that's 35 minutes. I'm gonna give it another 10 minutes. Better safe than sorry. I'd rather put the timer too short than too long because we don't want to burn it. Anyway, all right. The other ingredients that are gonna go into our balsamic vinaigrette here, do we have any black pepper? Yes. How about some black pepper? How about some salt? How about some Dijon mustard? Get a little, rinse this off here. And then our vinegar. We're gonna put in enough vinegar just to cover the onions plus a little bit. How about like that? That looks good. Now let's give that a blend. Hey, that's interesting. I was gonna say the drawback to this little food processor right here is it doesn't have a port to be able to pour the olive oil in, but it actually does. I wonder if that's what that's for. It's got these little holes here. That would give you maybe the ability to emulsify it, but I'm not gonna do that. We don't need a great emulsification. We're just gonna take the olive oil, we're gonna bring that up about there. All right, this is probably about the stage that I would normally be putting the fresh basil leaves into there, but I'm gonna bypass that for this recipe because I'm going to, for color purposes, I think that bright green chiffonade of basil will be a really nice garnish to this potato salad. So we're gonna hold off on the basil until later on for that reason. So that is done. This is sizzling along nicely. Let's take another look over here at our onions, Elliot. Oh, see that starting to brown? Perfect. Let's turn that down just a drop. Give it a nice shake. Turn it down a little bit lower even. All right, I think that these onions are about to the point where we're gonna start stirring them up. We got a nice browning going on the bottom there. So let's give them a good shake. Oh, and you can see down low there how that liquid, all that steam, is now pulling that brown up off of the bottom of the pan and incorporating it to these onions. It's gonna bring the sweetness out of them. That combined with the balsamic vinegar and the sweet basil, this is gonna be awesome. Now, for this recipe, I'm gonna stick to just the onions and basil that are gonna go into this potato salad. But you can do all sorts of things. I have done roasted red peppers with the caramelized onions. I've done grilled portobellos. You could add so many different things to this. Grilled zucchini squash would probably be good. You can use your imagination, but I'm gonna keep this relatively simple this time. Keep it somewhat close to a German style. All right, just a little bit longer. I think we'll have those where we want them. All right, click. All right, there's our timer. I do believe that our apple crisp is gonna be ready at this point. Let's take a good look at it. Oh, that's bubbling nicely. Here we go. We're gonna have some Tillamook vanilla bean ice cream with that tonight. Awesome. I'm thinking that I'm pretty happy with the way that these onions are looking right about now. I might just call that done and kill the heat on them and just let them sit, start to cool off until the potatoes are ready. And then we're gonna take the potatoes, strain them, run some cold water on them, and we're gonna put both of these together on the sheet pan and set them in the refrigerator to chill and let some steam evaporate off of them until it's time to assemble them. Here I have combined my potatoes, which are already cooked, and my caramelized onions on a sheet pan to cool off. I'm gonna set these in the refrigerator and hit the power cool button, and then take a few hours break, go work on the yard, and come back and we will do the assembly of this, light the grill, and get ready to start making our brats. I'll see you soon. Hey truckers, we are back in the kitchen after taking a little break to run to the grocery store, step out into the garage and sharpen the blades. It's Sunday, so I always do my maintenance on the mowers today. Anyway, it was perfect timing because we needed to let these potatoes and onions get nice and cold. I like for everything to be nice and chilled before we assemble it. I had mentioned that we are going to do a chiffonade of basil. Press it down, and these first cuts might be discarded or just not as smooth, but then anyway, we are gonna do it like so. Really keep it all nice and bunched up tight together. All right, good enough. These end pieces don't get as chopped up, but they still got that basil flavor. Go ahead and hit that. All right, so not perfect, but that's a basic chiffonade. So anyway, now we're going to assemble the potato salad. I'll take our potatoes, and onions. Man, this is going to be way too much. We'll have to incorporate this into another meal this week because it's just for Sarah and myself. The boys will not be eating this. We're going to make them try it, but like I mentioned earlier, we're going to grill Sammy some potatoes and probably make Elliot some ramen noodles. I wonder if any of you all have to do the same thing at your house or if you make your kids just deal with it. That's what we should do. Slap that in there. Probably enough. We can adjust it later. Oh, see, I purposely kept the basil out of the dressing to begin with so that it would have that nice green color in there. I love to make a balsamic basil vinaigrette. Typically, the basil goes right into the vinaigrette and gets blended in. For purposes of leafy green salads, this looks pretty. Anyway, I think that's enough dressing, and we have that for later in the week. Cool. All right, we have got an easy Octoberfest appetizer in the works right here. We're going to use the grill to do some beer cheese and pretzels. To make things simple, we got these out of the freezer section at the grocery store, and this one out of the refrigerator section. I like to do a nice presentation, so in order to do that, we are going to heat up the beer cheese in this cast iron skillet right there, and then we are just going to put the pretzels directly on the grates. So we'll go ahead and get that started. This is nice and preheated. I hope it doesn't just burn the crap out of it, but that's pretty warm. Might want to pull that off, and I bet it'll just be nice and melty there. We can always put it back on if we want to. Looks good. All right. In addition to that, I'll bring this bowl over here, and this is just plain water. I like to dip the pretzels in the water before they go onto the grill. That makes it steam and crisp up a little bit on the outside, just like that. Give that a close, give it a little more airflow. Let's give this a stir. Oh yeah, perfect. Nice and melty. Get rid of that. Check our pretzels. They won't take long. All right, you can click that off. I think these guys are just about done here. Let's see. Yep, they crisped up nicely, so we're gonna take these, come over here and give them a little shake in the salt, which they're not really sticking to it, but whatever, we'll sprinkle it on later. I was hoping that moisture, but it all steamed off. Get out of here, fly. All right, we've got the beer cheese, we've got the pretzels, and we've got a little bit of stone ground mustard there for those who enjoy that, which I know I do. Dig in, boys! These grilled reds are pretty simple. You just cut them in half. I covered it in a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper, and then they're gonna go straight on the grill. Got a hoe garden for me and a hoe garden for the grill. Now I've got Sammy's potatoes started on the grill here, and some onions getting browned up for the bratwurst, which we will replace the, once we move the potatoes off to the side, then we'll put the bratwurst right there. All right, I was able to get those reds out of the way, make room for these brats, which we're gonna go ahead and slap them on right now. Get them to brown up nicely. I'm normally wary of cooking brats like this, raw brats like this on the grill, because you never know exactly when they're done without snapping them open and checking the inside. That's one of the benefits of, we're just gonna brown them on the flame, and then we're gonna move them over to here and let them simmer in some beer and onions. Let that onion flavor soak in, and that'll just ensure that they get cooked all the way through, which is pretty much a must. Anyway, we'll let it do its thing. I'm gonna give these a little rotation here. Looking good. What are we sitting at? Right about just under 300. I'd say that browned up perfectly, and this is time to move them over to the beer and onions. Oh, yeah. I might dump another beer on there. Get them submerged in that liquid. Yeah, I have to go. I might dump another beer on there. Get them submerged in that liquid. Yeah, I have to go get one. I'll be back. Slide this over to on top of those hot, well, actually they evened up. They're hot everywhere now. These potatoes, they're close. All right, everything's looking good. Music to my ears. You hear that boiling?